This podcast is sponsored by Oasis Citrus Punch, the only drink that will give you mouth acne. Let's send it! Welcome to the Daft Lad podcast. I take no prisoners, just inmates, whatever that fucking means. Daft. Welcome back, everybody. It's series 2. We're back. No one asked for this. No one applied for this. It wasn't talked about in the House of the Old Common Rooms. In a sign of petition. No one asked for this, but it's back. Series 2, episode 1. Oh, life is good, innit? You having me in your ears is fantastic, innit? So this podcast is actually recorded in my local post office. It's in their break room. They'll let me use it. I don't work there, but they'll let me use it. It's quite a nice space. Got great acoustics. But sometimes people come in. Tracy, shut door, Trace. Come on, I'm trying to record a fucking podcast here. You daft bastard. I'm trying to record here. If you could come back in about half an hour, I'll be done. Just eat it on pavement, you chicken wrap. How's kids? How's Terry? Did he still have that gammy leg? Okay, he's had it chopped off. Fair play. At least that's not in your sandwich from Poundland. Shit. Actually, Trace, before you go, did you watch that episode of Virgin River that I told you to watch last night? Did you? Oh, no way. So many deaths, man. Everyone drowned. Shut door, see you, Trace. She's a good lass. Good lass, really. She is the post office. She's actually called Tracy Post Office. I'm joking. That was a daft laugh. This is my bedroom. No, actually, spare as Lucy Pevensey would say, Narnia. Thank you so much for listening. So much has happened between Series 1 and Series 2. I last finished Series 1 in August, maybe, or July 2022. Did a Christmas episode in December 2022. That was a daft laugh, wasn't it, if you listen to that? And now this is coming out 2023 in the spring. So I've got so much that everyone's going to relate to. I have a daft laugh. Everything, general life, relatable stuff is what I like to talk on the old podcast. So hopefully you can relate to me too and have a laugh. So everyone, sit back and relax. Don't sit back if you're on the top of a bus shelter. No. Or if you're sat on the back of a very well-built horse with hoofs as eyes. But for the rest of you listening, this is Series 2 of the Daft Lad podcast. It's back. I take no prisoners, just inmates. Whatever that fucking means. No, I don't know what that means. Anyway, let's play some Foxhorns and we'll send it. Living on the outsides, you're tempting vain, without news to escape, just going through the... So cheese is just a loaf of milk, and milk is just blended cow eggs. Did anyone as a kid used to play that game? What was it? Yellow car punch, no return. Oh, brutal to your siblings. If you don't know what it is, it's where if you see a yellow car, you punch someone in the car. You don't have to be in a car, it could be anywhere. But I've made a new one up. It's a new game, you can play it if you want. It's called Mini Bus Stab, no return. On Facebook, have you ever noticed that when someone changes their profile picture, which was before a picture of them and their partner, when they change it to a new profile picture of them and their fucking cat, you do know that they've just broken up. They haven't told anyone yet, but they have just broken up or they're having problems. So I kind of feel like they've left it a few days. They broke up on maybe Monday, posted new fucking profile picture on Thursday about midday of him and his snake, pet snake or something, that you never seen before. It happens. I don't know if you've noticed it or clocked on, but you will from now. Also, have you seen these people who sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace? Do it. You want money. But it's always like a stained chair or a cracked pan. Who's buying that? Have you ever loaded up the Facebook Marketplace? If you click on it now, you'll see what I mean. It's mental. You'll be scrolling through it and the first thing you see will be like, stainless steel, double oven, ceramic hob, electric cooker, 60 centimetres wide, fan assisted, 120 quid, you can pick it up from your front garden. It's always copied and pasted, like a paragraph of the whole title when it should be oven. Oh, Darren, look what I found. I found a new oven with a ceramic hob. What? Jolie, why do we need a new oven with a ceramic hob? We got one now, and it does job. Darren, you don't get me. This oven is in Darlington. But Darren, you don't get me. This oven is free to pick up from Darlington. Jesus. I've just typed into Google the weirdest things for sale on the Facebook Marketplace, and someone's selling a single Dorito in a jar. And then I scroll down, someone's selling some fingers, but the picture won't load. That's sad. Who's selling fingers, man? Someone sold one AirPod. Maybe you've only got one ear. Someone's selling used coffins on the Facebook Marketplace. That's fucking class. What's that? Someone's selling a waterproof sock. Look at that. I'm going to put this picture on the screen. It's not a sock. It's just a condom that's not a sock. It's just... I'm going to put this on the screen. But it's not a sock. And it's not a waterproof sock. It's a condom. And someone's put it on the feet. And it's $10 for that. Get yourself on Facebook Marketplace. Daft. Sounds some fox songs. So there's some great sayings out there. I don't know if you've heard all these sayings that you've heard from your relatives probably. The best one I've heard is, I'd rather shit in my hands and clap. Whoever came up with that was the person who actually did that. I had a really bad day, bad do. It's quite a random thing to say. It's like, why would I want to eat fucking sushi, mate? I'd rather shit in my hands and clap. So that's a saying for if you don't want to do something. But what if I want to do something? What if I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to have sushi. And then you say something after that's along the lines of, I'd rather shit in my hands and clap. So instead of saying, I'd rather shit in my hands and clap, my idea is, change it round, I'd rather clap my hands and shit. That's a happy version of it. Also, another one that I've only recently heard is this one. I don't know if it's all just UK based as all this crap, but I left the bathroom door open and someone said, didn't say that, I just had a burp. They said, close the bathroom door, you don't live in a barn, do you? What does that mean? A barn door's always open? Most barn doors I see are closed, mate. Who came up with that? A pissed off wall? Like, what's going on there? What? You know when you get a twitch? Like your eye, it just twitches for ages, and you want to show someone, but it stops. That's actually a ghost pestering you. There's a ghost stood with a wand, there you go, just poking you in the eye for about 10 seconds going, that's going to fuck you right off, Jim. Spam his eyebrow 43 times, like, hey. Yeah, and also, every time I get a twitch, I always want to show someone. I'm like, that's weird. And it's just like, it's like your face is just going in and out. You're like, Mum, have you seen this? And you go over, show her it, and she's like, what's going on? Look at my face, it's twitchy. She's like, nothing's happening, Jamie. Joe, mate, have you seen my middle toe? It's twitching like a dog's leg, mate. It happens all the time. You want to show someone something that's so mental, you show them it, it stops. And they're like, are you mental? Yeah, so that's it. The ghost is having a right daft laugh. They know that you want to show someone, and they stop when you show someone. Absolute banter. Let's play some tunes. So it's now time for a new segment I like to call Random Thoughts with Desmond Motorhome. That's me. Alright, brother. Please sit forward and have a shit time. Welcome. So, can I have some sound effects? Ooh. And I'm going to use a soft voice like it's a yoga meditation. Welcome to Random Thoughts with me, Desmond Motorhome. Alright, brother. Here are some random thoughts for the day. Cows are pretty calm considering the whole floor is food. It's impossible to move your top teeth. Brushing your teeth is the only time you'll be cleaning your skeleton. Thank you for listening to Random Thoughts with me, Desmond Motorhome. Alright, brother. Tell you what, 2022, British summer. That was great, wasn't it? How hot was that heat? Shit. Going to bed was like sleeping in a fucking lasagna. The thing is though, this was the only time the British summer was so bad with the heat wave, like it was 40, 30 degrees. It actually smelt like Spain. You know when you go like abroad to Spain and there's just a smell of hotness? like the ground is just fucking melting and boiling, and everything just comes into one smell. It's like that heat. It's like burning tree, but not so much burning, just really warm. That's it. You could smell the heat. Like for me at work, I wear overalls at work. Imagine it was awful, 38 degrees at work. So what I did, but I take my lunchbox, you know those like blue ice blocks that you put in the freezer overnight? Take them out, and you put them in your lunchbox, it makes everything nice and cool. I did that on my lunchtime, I go sit in my car, it's probably 50 degrees now, I'm actually cooking myself. What I would do is take them out of the lunchbox and just put it down my shorts, because it was the only sort of comfort I had, really. So I'd just be sat there on my break watching Wizards of Waverly Place with a cooler block down my short, just like cooling off, just steaming. And then also 4 hours before bed, it would be like 30 degrees, which is unheard of. So what I do is put a wet towel in proper wet the towel, put it in the freezer for about 4 or 5 hours. And when I went to bed, you take it out with like a glass shard. You couldn't literally separate the fold. It's mental. It was that much of a glacier, I thought Bear Grylls were going to nip down to my house and start fucking sending it down like it's a gorge with his spike steel toe caps on. Literally, you couldn't open it up. It was like arm wrestling with one of the folds, and I couldn't win. It was like arm wrestling with a wall. It then eventually thawed out after maybe 30 minutes of having it on you and being in the room because it was so hot. But it was so nice. You just get into bed and just put it on you, and you were soaked, but it was freezing. So on the flip side of that, when it's winter like it is now, just put that towel in the oven for 4 hours. Take it out, put that on you, you'll be warm in bed. I'll take whatever's left in the oven anyway. So if anyone has heard the first ever episode of the Daft Lad podcast, I was talking about the man, the myth, the chicken legend, with a side of cool mayo and chips and Coke, Brian Cox, the scientist lad. And back in September 2022, I went to go see him live in Hull. He did a live show, it was epic. He had like a 30-metre screen behind him showing all this animation stuff. And before I got in there, parked up, walking into the venue, very big venue, and I just walked past and I saw next to the queue was a policeman and a sniffer dog. I just walked past and saw a dog. I was like, hello, sniffer dog. Trying to find some space dust at Brian Cox's gig. It mosh pit, jeez. And then in the interval, on his massive screen, he said, right, I want some questions from you. Hashtag, whatever it was, Brian Cox Live. Send your questions in and they'll come up on the screen. And he'd answer them in the second half. So everyone was sending questions on Twitter and they'd come up. Like, you'd like write it down and you might be chosen. I think there'd be someone watching so it wasn't rude. And it'd come up on the screen. So I thought, here we go, I'm going to have a daft laugh here. So there was maybe 2,000 people in there, just chilling, watching the screen. So at first, people were writing like really nice, nerdy questions. I did one, and it came up. I was like, oh, that's mint, is that? It'd only stay on for like 5 seconds, and it'd go off. I tried to take a picture of it. So I just nudged my brother, and I went, hey, bro, I'm going to tweet and see if it comes up. And I've wrote dog eggs. Just dog eggs by itself. Sadly, they never had that come up, because I guess it didn't mean anything. And then I sent another tweet that read, a trip to Moon or a trip to Prague with the lads? And it came up. It came up on the screen. It came up and everyone had like a little chuckle. There's like a nice little ambience of just, yeah, that's good. And I was buzzing my head off because I was like, that's the validation I need. So I was like, I've got another 15 minutes of this. Let's do this. So I sent another tweet and straight after that. And this one read, if you dug a hole in your garden all the way to the centre of the earth, do you own that huge plot of land? And it came up because it was like a bit of a space bantery and it was quite funny. Came up, everyone laughed a bit, not as much as the first one, but came up buzzing. And I tried a few more random ones like horse eggs or bear lips, but he wasn't having that. And then he came on, didn't answer any of my questions, but he's an absolute legend, great night. And he was just there the whole night, just talking and talking about stars. You know, billions and billions of stars. Brian Cox, legend. I'll get him on the pod one day. Not. Play some Fox songs. Time for some emails now. And if you want to get in touch with me, come find me and touch me. I'm joking. You can send any questions or funny stories or true and false, all that kind of anything daft to my email, thedaftladpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can find me on Instagram, Tiki, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can send me a DM or message and I'll read them out on the podcast. but I have the one email today for this first episode of Series 2, and it reads, "Hi, my name is Joshua Jibb. My question is, have you ever cut your middle finger and put a plaster on it, and then gone for a number 2, wiped your ass, and the plaster has come off and entered your human system?" Jesus Christ, Josh. That isn't daft, mate. That's fucking grim. It's not daft, that's just pure cow eggs, that email. You need to be sending that into like the Jackass podcast or Blue Planet or the Dentist podcast or something. That'll answer your question. You aren't daft. Speaking of plasters, we all get those cheap plasters from the supermarket, don't we? The cheapest ones. What's with all the different shapes? I don't have a diamond cut in the palm of my hand. That's useless. Everyone's favourite shape of plaster is the long, thin one that can go around the finger, round the nose, round the toe. And then there's a small version of that. They've basically cut the long one in half and it's small for the small cuts, but you've got to put 2 on so it actually don't come off. So that's basically a waste of time. Don't cut it. I'm always a person who, I get cut. Oh, my finger, mate. Go to the plaster box. There's none of those long ones left or the short ones. There's just those ones which are like, what are they shaped as? A square. I'm not in Minecraft with a cut. The stupid plaster companies, listen, reach out to me. Also, I wore my first ever blue plaster. You know, the really good material blue plaster that I felt like a Michelin star chef that had just cut himself. Oh, like walking around with like a really cool ring on, but it was a blue plaster. And it was just like, if I put it underneath the tap, it was so waterproof. It was like a mithril plaster. It was unreal. I think they should do more with the blue waterproof. Not just plasters, but with any sort of clothing. Imagine like that blue waterproof plaster material on Speedos. Because when I used to dive in, when I used to do swimming, you'd dive in, Speedos would fly down. If you had the blue, the really sticky blue plaster waterproof as Speedos, they'd just stick to you. Unreal. And they'd be waterproof, so you wouldn't have to dry this part of your body when you get out. Or just use one big plaster, one big blue plaster that wraps around like a big belt. You're like Gollum. What the fuck am I on about? I might just leave it there for the first episode. It's good to be back. I hope you enjoyed that episode. It's a little teaser of what's to come in Series 2. It's going to be more daft. But if I said it's going to be not as much daft, you wouldn't listen. So it's just a generic thing. It's like, oh, we're back with this series and it's better than ever. It might not be better, but I've got to keep you fucking interested. Same. Yeah. So I upload episodes 7 a.m. on Fridays when I'm in series mode. So 7 a.m. British time, which I don't know what that is. SST, fuck you. Or CCST. What is British saving time, whatever you call it. So it's out at 7 a.m. on all the podcast audio platforms on the Fridays when I release the episodes. And also the YouTube video version to watch the podcast is out at maybe 4 o'clock on those Fridays. So you can watch my big Swede on the camera. And when I say I have a big Swede, it's like one big Swede on a small plate. So yeah, follow me on Instagram. You'll be able to see when the new episodes will be coming out. Find me on TikTok. I'll be posting clips from this shit. And get your emails in and questions in. And I'll read them out on this series. I best get going. I'm off to Argos to buy a sword. Bye!